Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor on this beautiful August day in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. My name is Judy Chandler, and I'm so happy to be with you. Today, our minister, Reverend David Old, is speaking, and his talk title is Back to the Basics, Unity's Principle Number 3, We Are Co-Creators with God. Let's begin our service with prayer. Let's go to that still small point at the center of our being, that point of light where we connect to Spirit and to each other. We feel love here, calmness, gratefulness, peace, and the knowingness that we are all part of something greater. We are lifted to a higher awareness of our divinity and wholeness. We are one with the one power and the one presence in the universe. Let's remain in this sacred space as we enter into today's service. Let's rest here as we listen to Amazing Things, written and performed by the amazing Michael Gott.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take. Bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. The places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when, where, or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings, and you will do amazing. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes, take a breath, and smile. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. with me and just look at somebody for a second and sing, amazing. Look at somebody else. Amazing. You will do amazing things. Oh, I know you will. Amazing. Yes, amazing. You will do amazing things. Can you feel that? Such beautiful energy we created right here. Now what I want us to do is imagine that we filled this room and we're going to send it out into the world, this knowing, this positive, beautiful spiritual energy. Let's sing, we will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. We will do amazing things. Oh, 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 amazing, yes, amazing. We will do amazing things, yes. I know we will. Amazing, amazing. We will do amazing things. We will heal the world today. Amazing, amazing. We will do amazing things. And now what I'd like you to do with the deepest conviction and sincerity, place your hand over your own heart and tell yourself the truth. I will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. I will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. I will do amazing things. You will do amazing things.
Thank you, Michael Gott, for your beautiful and powerful song. It's so true. Each one of us is amazing, and we do amazing things every day. I would now like to introduce Reverend David, who will give his talk on co-creating and close with a meditation and closing prayer.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor's online service. I'm Reverend David Old, and I'm so glad to have all of you out there and so glad that you could join us today. So presently, we're in the middle of a 5-part talk series exploring Unity's 5 basic principles. And today we're covering our 3rd principle, which is co-creators with God. We create our own reality through our thoughts and beliefs. I'll repeat that. Co-creators with God, we create our own reality through our thoughts and beliefs. Unity churches throughout the world have their own ways of wording of this principle. And another church that I was serving at stated the principle this way: human beings create their experience by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. You know, you cannot perform a single act without putting your consciousness into it. And everything you see began with an idea in mind. So on a practical basis, our 3rd unity principle is the most important principle that we have. So you cannot perform a single act without putting your consciousness into it. Everything you see began first as an idea in mind. And on a practical basis, our third unity principle is the most important principle that unity teaches, because your success and happiness and the fate of this world actually depends on our understanding and application of this principle. And I don't say that lightly. So let's look at this principle in more detail. But first, let's review what a principle is. And then we'll briefly review our first two principles. So Charles Fillmore says the fundamental basis and starting point of practical Christianity is that God is principle. And by principle, it's meant definite, exact, and unchangeable rules of action. So a principle, it's a rule, and in this case, a spiritual rule or law that never changes. It applies to all people and everywhere, all the time. And our first unity principle is that there is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good. So that first principle, essentially the most important word there is one. And we talked earlier about, earlier in the series about at the core of every main spiritual tradition, there is this concept of oneness, of oneness. And when people speak of God, there's this idea of one. And then another thing that we also discovered was through my studies of quantum physics, and I'm reading a really interesting book right now by Paul Levy called The Quantum Revelation, a radical synthesis of, of science and spirituality. But we see in the study of quantum physics, what the quantum physicists are saying is that it is all one. All of life is all of one piece. Everything is interconnected through every dimension. It is interconnected. And so life as we know it is one. So that's a very, very, this whole way of looking at quantum physics and spirituality. I mean, again, the quantum physicists that we're reading about, if you read them, what you're hearing is almost like a theology about how matter is really not made of matter, but is spirit. Everything is spirit. Everything is consciousness. So our basic unity, so that leads us to, if everything is indeed one, then it just naturally unfolds and leads to our second unity principle, which is created in the image and the likeness of God. We are inherently divine. So as we come to believe, to truly understand the first two principles, we begin to see that we are living in a limitless ocean of spirit, of pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure love, and infinite potential. You know, aligned with this truth, we cannot fail. We are one with our Creator, and spirit lives and moves and has its being in and through and as us. And indeed, we live and move and have our being in spirit. And we can tap into the power, the wisdom, the abundance, the wholeness, and the guidance of spirit at any time. In his book, The 12 Powers, our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, says, humankind is the power of God in action. To humankind is given the highest power in the universe, the conscious power of thought. And Fillmore goes on to say that we have no independent mind. There is only universal mind, but we have consciousness in that mind, and we have control over that consciousness. We have control over our thoughts, and our thoughts fill our consciousness. You know, when you think about it, if you really let that in, I mean, what amazing powers we have as human beings, and no less than the abilities of the Christ that resides in each and every one of us. So and also what an awesome responsibility we have. You know, if we can truly do the works that Jesus did, and he did promise us in John 14:12, where he said, these works, these miracles that I am doing, you can do too. And even greater than these, you can do. So if we truly can do the works and even greater works than Jesus did, then we can change our lives and we can change our world. Over 2,500 years ago, the Buddha said this. He says, all that we are is a result of what we have thought. If a man speaks or acts with an evil thought, pain follows him. If a man speaks or acts with a pure thought, happiness follows him, like a shadow that never leaves him. So, what thoughts are in your mind right now? You know, what kind of life are you creating for yourself? You know, if you don't like your life right now, we can change our thoughts. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. And it's an inside job. So our third unity principle about the creative power of our thoughts has often been called the law of attraction or the law of mind action. And it's usually phrased like thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And in unity, we believe it is more accurate to say thoughts and feelings held in mind produce after their kind. And the reason for this is because thoughts without feelings carry little energy and tend to be ineffective. But add feeling to a thought, and its power is increased exponentially. And there's really, if you look around you, there really is evidence for that all around you. I'll take, for example, road rage, for example, which I experienced scaringly one time. But there's this, you know, someone, and people sometimes don't pay attention to when they're driving, or their mind is someplace else, and sometimes they do some crazy things. They'll cut you off. They'll cut you off. Anyway, just it's things that can irritate you. But some people, when they're irritated with something like this, road rage, for example, somebody cuts the person off, and instead of just being irritated, they become enraged. And they actually reach the point where they can, and they sometimes do, chase the person down and kill them. That is where feelings and thought meld together, and it becomes something so much bigger. And also, you can look at artists. I'd love to go to the art festivals and look at the artwork and the paintings and the sculpture. And when you look at some of these paintings and some of these sculptures, you can just see it in the beauty of it, that so much love and attention to detail was put into this artwork that you can just see the feeling in it. And another thing, I love dance. I love watching all different kinds of dance. And a dancer that truly loves to dance doesn't just dance. He actually becomes the dance with such love. He actually becomes the dance, and you can see that in a really fine dancer. I when I lived in Tucson, I attended a Episcopal church And there was at one service, they did a liturgical dance, a sacred dance as part of the service. And it was a small troupe of dancers. But one of the women that was in the dance, she was arthritic. I mean, her hands, you know how some people, when they have really bad uh, arthritis, their hands are sort of frozen like this. And she was stricken with this type of arthritis, but she loved what she was doing so much that I could not take my eyes off of her. And her dance, I think honestly that dance touched me more than any dance I've ever watched in my entire life. I mean, you can see just thinking about it brings out the emotion again. And that was truly one of the most beautiful dances I've ever seen. So it's useful to look at the law of mind action in several different ways. You know, how it works in consciousness, how it works in experience, and how it works in the body. And in consciousness, the thoughts that are held with feeling tend to give rise to like thoughts. I mean, for example, I mean, if there are people that go around always concentrating on not having enough. They concentrate on lack. They talk about lack. And by focusing on the lack, we believe in unity. By focusing on something like that, we are literally drawing that to us. We are making that manifest. It's through our thoughts and our feelings that we make manifest these things on earth. Or people that think about, that are constantly thinking about suffering, and they feel like they suffer, and they just constantly talk about the suffering. And the truth of the matter is, by this constant focus on the suffering, we are bringing more suffering into our lives. So these thoughts and these feelings, they do not change until we recognize that we're actually doing this, and we're actually keeping these thoughts and making these thoughts manifest. And then once we realize what we're doing, and we realize that we are concentrating and focusing on these thoughts of lack or illness, then we can choose to change our thinking and our feeling. I mean, I run across so many people, and even myself, I was brought up as a child. There was so much I felt unworthy. I felt not good enough. So we can change our thoughts. We can replace these thoughts. In Unity, we use affirmations and denials. And next, my next talk will be on prayer and meditation. So we'll explore that in our prayer and meditation section of this talk. So that'll be the next time that I speak. So in experience, our thoughts, beliefs, and ideas create our experience of the world, which includes our feelings. And our thinking is the cause, and the experience is the effect. Cause and effect are inseparable. And all of the stresses and struggles on the outside is not where the battle is going on. It's going on in our minds. Eckhart Tolle says that situations don't make you unhappy. They may cause you pain, but they don't make you unhappy. Your thoughts make you unhappy. Your interpretations of what's going on, the stories that you tell yourselves, your thoughts are what make you unhappy. And I look at today's in politics, especially over here in the States, where everything is so polarized, and people are looking in such black and white images, and where they're stoking the fears of the other, painting the other political party, the demon that's going to destroy America. And it's, again, all of these feelings are coming from inside us, from our thoughts. And we really are right now so polarized in the United States by all of this talk and demonizing of each other. So in the body, at the level of the physical body, scientific research is catching up with metaphysical thinking. It's now known that the mind-body connection is hardwired. There is a mind-body connection. Our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions affect our bodies. And most notably, it affects our immune system. So Paul Levy wrote a book called The Quantum Revelation, which I just actually mentioned. And in that book, speaking of quantum physics, he says quantum theory is discovering that mind and matter are not separate, but interconnected. And it's also showing us how we ourselves are moment by moment playing a key role in the creation of our experience. We are creators, co-creators with God. And we need to seriously understand that, because we are creating our life experience through the way of thinking. So it is through the quality of our thoughts as individuals that we will create personal lives either full of joy and happiness, or lives full of fear, greed, conflict, and suffering. It's through the quality of our combined thoughts of humankind that we create our world, our civilization, our cultures, our politics, our economies, and our religion. And by the quality of our thoughts, we will either create a heaven on earth or hell on earth. I look around us right now, and I mean, I see just ongoing savage wars, and I see so much polarization of casting each side as the demon to be conquered. I see that over 21,000 people die of hunger every day. That's 9 million a year. I see that a child dies every 10 seconds of hunger. In the 20th century alone, we've had an estimated 108 million people that perished in wars. So I see all of this is the outpicturing of the thoughts, the hatred, whatever the kinds of thoughts that we are holding within us are being outpictured in our world. So change will only come about when we change the way we think. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world. Paul, the Apostle Paul, in Romans 12:2 says, "Do not copy the behavior and customs of the world." And I don't know about you, but that sounds like good advice to me, because the world is looking really, really crazy right now. So he says, do not copy the behavior and customs of the world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good, perfect, and pleasing. The definition of transform is to make a thorough or a dramatic change in form or appearance or character. And our vision here at Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our mission is we inspire and empower spiritual growth to awaken us and transform the world. The will of God for each of us is for us to grow and mature into the Christ that we are meant to be. In unity, we believe that Christ abides in each person as potential perfection. Each person has the Christ idea within them, just as Jesus did. The same mind that was in Jesus Christ is also in each and every one of us. It is God in you, wanting to express in and as and through you. You know, over 500 years before Jesus was born, there was a great philosopher, a great Greek philosopher and mystic. His name was Pythagoras, and he said, before we can know God, we must first know ourselves. Before we know God, we must first know ourselves. In A Course in Miracles, we read this: every decision that you make stems from what you think you are and represents the value that you put upon yourself. Again, do you see yourself as a human being having a spiritual experience, or do you see yourself as a spiritual being having a human experience? There is such a big difference. Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5:17, so if anyone is in Christ, there is a new creation. Everything old has passed away. See, everything has become new. Whatever God creates is always new and it is perfect. But God can only create something new in us when we let go of our old ways of thinking and of being. And God is always creating something new in every single moment. So do not copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. So Paul is warning us to not be conformed. And the truth of the matter is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And when we come into this world, we are literally one with our mother. You know, even for some time after we're born, we feel at one. We continue to feel at one with our mother and with our environment and with spirit. But over time, as our egos and personalities begin to form, what was meant to only be a point of reference for us begins to feel separate from its source and separate from everyone else. We forgot the truth of who we are, and we began to be conformed to this world. You know, our inner life determines our outer experiences and not the other way around. We cannot always control the events in our lives, but we can control how we experience things and how we respond. You know, are we looking at things with new eyes, with new thoughts, or are we filtering everything through our old ways of thinking, the old stories that are always playing in our heads, the stories of lack, the stories of not good enough, not smart enough? It's always an inside job. It's always an inside job. We can't change others, but we can only change ourselves. And we can be an example. And we are called to be the light of the world. And we can be the light of the world, the light that we are meant to be. So our life experiences, all of them, are here to move us into new possibilities, new states of awareness, and new states of consciousness. Whatever we are experiencing right now, whatever difficulty or challenge we are experiencing, it's here for our growth. It's not here for us to avoid. It's not here for us to ignore. It's, it's here to be fully accepted and fully experienced. In that process, we move forward, we grow, and we are transformed. In John 16:33, Jesus says, I have told you these things that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And we too are called to overcome the world and all of its negativity. We have come to remember who we are. In his book, Atom Smashing Power of Mind, Charles Fillmore says, the work that the overcomer does for the world is to help establish a new consciousness, new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwells righteousness. By being true to his highest understanding of the truth, the overcomer serves to be the right, swerves to neither the right nor left for any reason. He is focused. He seeks first the kingdom of God and its righteousness. So before I close this talk, I want to read you a old Hindu proverb. And it goes like this. Be careful with your thoughts because your thoughts become your words. Be careful with your words because your words become your actions. Be careful with your actions because your actions become your behaviors. Be careful with your behaviors because your behaviors become your habits. Be careful with your habits because your habits become your character. And be careful with your character because your character becomes your destiny. So let's go ahead and prepare ourselves for our meditation. So let's just take a moment right now and bring our attention fully and completely to this place and to this time. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths. And as we take each breath, again, that helps us to focus on this present moment. In truth, the only moment that there ever is. So we align ourselves with this present moment. And we allow ourselves to relax. And we allow our minds to slow down. If any thought about what happened earlier or what's happening later, if any thought comes to mind, we note it and we just let it go. We don't grab hold of it. We don't go with the thought. We just note it and let it go and bring our attention back to this place and this time. So in this place and this time, we just feel the presence of Spirit. In this present moment, we realize that we are always creating. We are co-creators with Spirit, creating our life one choice at a time. In every moment, there is a choice of what we can do, multiple choices. And so as we align with the truth of who we are, align with our Christ consciousness, then we were able to settle in and align with that inner quiet, that inner stillness that resides with each and every one of us. And as we come in touch with that quiet, pure consciousness, awareness, the truth of who we are, we know that there is only one presence and there is only one power, and we are part of that. We are indeed spiritual beings having a human experience. And the human experience that we are living right now is the creation, our own creation, through our thoughts, through the choices that we make. And we remind ourselves that if we don't like everything that's going on in the way our life is right now, that we have a choice. We can change the way that we think. We can change the way that we look at things. So we have this power. It resides within us. And so I invite you at this time to recognize that power within you. Recognize that the infinite possibilities that reside in you, that are set out before you every moment. And I invite you to just rest. Rest in the quiet, in that still point within you. That inner chamber, we rest there. Let us rest there for just a little while in the quiet. So as we bring our attention back to this place and this time, we realize that we are incredibly powerful spiritual beings, and that we have a way of changing our lives by focusing on that which we desire, that which we choose to be. And we allow ourselves to focus and align ourselves with our Christ nature, the truth of who we are, and staying focused and aligned in that truth, we can change our life and we can change the world. So loving Holy Spirit, we are so grateful to be the spiritual beings that we are. We are so grateful for the power, the strength, the wisdom, the guidance that is always there for us. We are being led. We are being guided. Help us to stay in alignment with that truth beyond all understanding. And so it is. Amen. Well, thank you, everyone. Namaste. God bless. See you next week.
Thank you, Reverend David, for explaining Unity's third basic principle. As co-creators with God, we create our own reality through our thoughts and beliefs. As Reverend David stated, all we are is a result of what we think, and if we change the way we think, we can change our lives. What do we want to create? We can create heaven on earth. We play a key role in our experience by the quality of our thoughts. You are invited to attend our Zoom discussion, Conversations with Reverend David, directly after this service, where Reverend Dave will answer any questions and explore today's talk in more depth. Just go to our website for connection instructions. Let's listen to our next musicians, Jan Garrett and J.D. Martin, and their song, There's Another Way.
Hi, everybody. My name is J.D. Martin.
And I'm Jan Garrett.
And welcome to our living room once again. Today our song is called There's Another Way, and I wrote it with Chuck Jones, and Chuck is playing the amazing guitar.
All right.
Bang that drum, rattle that saber, shoot first and ask questions later. It just ain't practical to love your neighbor. Ooh, it's a crazy world. Let's make a circle out of that line. Think about us and not just yours and mine. There's another way beyond the blue and gray, where we all can lay our weapons down. There's a brighter light beyond the wrong and right, and if we let it shine tonight, we'll live to love again another day. There's another way, another way. Still that anger, unclench that fist, feel the power of forgiveness. There's a new sun rising in the morning mist. Ooh, it's a beautiful world. If flesh and blood were born out of the stars, I can't help believing somewhere in our hearts there's another way beyond the blue and gray, where we all can lay our weapons down. There's a brighter light beyond the wrong and the right, and if we let it shine tonight, we'll live to love again another day. There's another way, yeah. There's a brighter light beyond the wrong and the right, and if we let it shine tonight, I know we'll live to love again another day. Yes, I pray there's another way. Another way. There's another way. Another way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan Garrett, for writing and sharing this beautiful song and performing it along with J.D. Martin. Yes, there's another way. Love these words and melody. We want to thank all of you out there who continue to support this ministry with your time and generous donation of tithes and love offerings. Especially during these challenging times, we could not continue to provide our programs and services without your support. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It is easy to donate. We accept e-transfer or PayPal, sent to unitycenterwindsor@gmail.com. You can also click the blue donate button at the top of our website, which will take you to Canada Helps, a safe and secure site where you can make a one-time or recurring donation using a credit or debit card. Or you can send a check or money order to our office. For further information, visit our website at www.unityofwindsor.org. Again, thank you and bless you for your loving and generous support. In these interesting times here at Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor, we are exploring different ways to provide more online services, classes, and opportunities to meet virtually. Information about all of our upcoming classes and events can be found on our website at www.unityofwindsor.org. If you do not receive our weekly newsletter, please contact us, and we will add you to our email list. As we come near to the end of today's service, thank you again for joining us today. Before we close with a short prayer of gratitude and our prayer for protection, I would like to remind you of our vision, mission, and statement of being, which are found on your screen. Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor is a growing and thriving spiritual community. Our vision is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we inspire and empower spiritual growth to awaken us and transform the world. And we know we can do these amazing things because our statement of being is, I am a dynamic center of the Christ light, mighty to unfold my good and radiate that good to all. Let's open our hearts and minds in gratitude as we close by speaking out loud or silently to ourselves our love offering prayer, followed by the prayer for protection. Divine love, in me and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. I would like to thank Reverend David Old for his important message today. I would also like to thank today's musicians, Michael Karloff, Michael Gott, and Jan Garrett and J.D. Martin. Have an amazing week, everyone.